So exactly 2 weeks, 14 days after my operation, I was scheduled to come home. And so I packed up my stuff. I got up at 7 a.m., packed my stuff, got clean, got breakfast at that wonderful buffet at the hotel, met Peter at 8, and he took me to the Munich airport. Paid him, said a sincere goodbye to him, reflected upon leaving Munich and heading home, really looking forward to being home to be with my daughter and my doggie and my home and my friends and my family and all of that. And got to the airport, went up to the terminal because I really didn't know the airport very well and I didn't want to miss my flight. So I didn't really get to enjoy any of the shops. There's a lot of shopping and there's a lot of cafes there. Didn't get to experience any of that, but got business class service once I sat down in my flight. Enjoyed that. Didn't really sleep much, but got to watch 3 movies, I guess, and did end up having a real nice flight back across the Atlantic. And in fact, we went feet dry, I think, right around just north of Maine. It might have been, was it Nova Scotia? I can't recall now. But once we got feet dry on American land, that was really nice. And landed then in Washington, D.C. at Dulles Airport. Even got to see the Udvar Hazy museum. You can see right there on the video. I've been there, actually. My sister doesn't live very far from there. And it's a fantastic place to visit if you are an aviation buff of any form, by the way. But landed there, and that's where the day started to get a bit more complex. As you recall, 1 week prior to me coming home, there was a terrorist attack in Paris that was pretty bad. And security was heightened. It wasn't too bad at Munich, but in D.C. it was pretty heightened. And the process to get back into the country involved a couple of hours of huffing from one terminal to another, carrying my bag, pulling my card at one point to go through one portion anyway, at least 8 different ID checks. And by the time I got to my Columbus flight, I was pretty exhausted. I was dehydrated. I was feeling pretty spent. My legs were starting to hurt. I just was not in real great shape, but at least I got settled into that final flight coming back with a crew that just apparently had just as long of a day as I had. And finally arrived back into Columbus at night. And my friend from work picked me up and drove me home, where I was, met with my house in the dark, having gone through this really intense experience on my own. My daughter was still at class and didn't come home for another hour or so, but I got to let my dog out and reacquaint him and be back in my house and start to unpack. And it was so normal to do that. I'd been on a million business trips that it was almost surreal in its normality, if that makes any sense. It was as if nothing had happened except that my shoulder hurt like hell and I had a great big scar on my neck and I had a soft collar and a bunch of stuff to unpack. But I was home, I was safe, I was already on the computer texting people to let them know, and emailing people to let them know that I was home. And when my daughter got home, it was a great reunion with her, and she talked my ear off, which is very rare, until I couldn't stay awake any longer, crashed, and welcomed the next day of my recovery, the next phase even.